Hey everyone, today we're going to talk about how you can capitalize on key trends in business messaging. My name's Chris Pawinski, and I'm a senior product marketing manager at Twilio. I focus specifically on our advanced messaging initiatives. Today we're going to cover a few things I'm really excited about. First, the evolution of customer relationships. Second, shifting consumer preferences, especially as it relates to messaging. Third, we'll talk about what the term messaging actually means. And the spoiler alert, as I'm sure you all know, is it means more than ever. That's why we're here. Fourth, I'll walk through the new interesting entry points we're seeing with starting conversations through messaging. And fifth, we'll talk about messaging across the customer journey, covering how to approach it and those best practices. I want to start with the reinvention of customer relationships in this digital era. Everyone has talked about digital transformation, but what does that mean? And where are we going? For the past decade, we've watched companies across every industry transform their business models with digital technology. When it comes to the digital communications and messaging, there was a significant amount of digital augmentation to evolve in-person and phone strategies. There's new touch points on the support side, even things as simple as logging a support ticket. There was web chat for more instantaneous support, including automation with chatbots to make the experience even more streamlined. But what we're finding today is there's this other shift that's occurring, and that's the shift to digital first. This is where consumers want almost every interaction to be digital first, and especially on mobile. They want to build long-term digital relationships with the brands they trust. They expect every interaction they need to really be through digital channels. And they expect these interactions to be treated as one ongoing conversation. It's a consistent conversation with them as a customer. So with that, we're seeing the shift from digital augmentation to digital first. But let's look a little deeper at what this means. What does it mean to move from digital augmentation to digital first? Well, it's an evolution from traditional channels to private messaging applications. When faced with the choice, 75% of consumers indicated they would prefer to engage with a brand over private messaging channels than traditional channels. It's also moving from support tickets to new entry points with solutions like QR codes and the ability to message from search, maps, ads, and more. And it's moving from voice and text to interactive experiences with features like emojis, quick replies, location, even things like group messaging and carousels or product catalogs. But why is this happening? Put simply, consumer preferences have shifted, and they continue to shift and evolve, and they do so quickly. Consumers today, they expect the right message at the right time in any channel they prefer. Second, messaging itself means more than ever before. It's not just a channel like SMS. It truly requires a multi-channel strategy. And there are new entry points that continue to emerge. You're no longer waiting on support tickets to help customers or even web chatbots. There are proactive entry points across the entire customer journey that really help you build these digital relationships. So let's dive deeper into each of these three areas a bit further. We'll start with the first one. Consumer preferences continue to shift. Consumers are telling the market that they want to use private messaging channels. In fact, 51% rank an async messaging channel in their top 3 communication channels with a business. So it is definitely one of their preferred channels. Ultimately, meeting consumers where they prefer, that builds trust with them. 70% of consumers say the ability to message a business instills a deeper level of trust between them and that brand. And trust is one of the most important pillars when it comes to customer engagement. Businesses that establish trust, they ultimately win in the long term. In fact, consumers spend 25% more with the businesses they trust. So what we are seeing is actual business impact tied to building trusted interactions with consumers over these messaging channels. But why are these channels preferred? Well, it's really several reasons. Think about yourself as a consumer. These consumers find it more convenient and they get the answers they need faster. Some want an ongoing record of the conversation that they can refer back to at any point. It also meets them in an experience that they're used to. Think about your personal lives. You're using these messaging applications. It allows you to engage with brands in the way that you're used to on a day-to-day basis. We're all really busy. We want these interactions to be the ones we're used to. And you can come back to a conversation at any point in a lot of these messaging applications. You can start something, step away for a second, and come back to it. Ultimately, it puts the consumer in control. And businesses that do it right are telling consumers that they're ready to provide the support and service whenever and wherever they need. This is the experience consumers have come to expect. So let's talk about that second trend. Now that we understand the importance of messaging, let's pause for a second. What does messaging actually mean? Well, it really means more than ever today. Messaging really started with SMS when we think about business messaging, and the addressable market, it does continue to grow, whether it's alerts, reminders, notifications, or one-time passcodes. SMS continues to be highly leveraged with the expectation that business messaging hit 2.7 trillion by next year. So that's a massive scale. But messaging isn't just SMS. And we're starting to see that global shift. If we look at OTT channels, think about something like WhatsApp. They'll account for 28% of A2P traffic by 2024 globally. And then operator IP, even the things we're seeing with Google Business Messages and Apple Business Chat, and those type of channels, it's set to account for 12% of A2P traffic by 2024. So you can see here, there is this shift that's occurring. And depending on where you're at regionally, you are seeing this more aggressive shift. In fact, for many of you, SMS might not even be the primary channel. Let's look at this in the context of a specific channel like WhatsApp. WhatsApp is the default means of communication in LATAM, APAC, and a lot of European countries. And it's the second choice in other markets like USA, France, and Australia. If you're scaling to any of these regions or countries and you want to maximize engagement outcomes, you have to consider using WhatsApp. So we're seeing the concept of messaging expand across a multitude of channels. And these channels, they really solve for specific consumer needs. So you see things like SMS, MMS, WhatsApp, Facebook Messenger, Google Business Messages. They solve for specific consumer needs. Some are better suited for business-initiated engagement. Think of something like one-time passcodes or maybe an alert. But as you get more to consumer-initiated interactions, that's a really important term when we think about our strategy, consumer-initiated interactions. We're seeing continued growth in those channels like WhatsApp, Facebook Messenger, and Google Business Messages. That's where they're really set up for success. And that's really important in your strategies now and in the future. Now, when we look at consumer initiated, it's when the consumer engages with the business first. So where does that happen? Well, one of my favorite trends that we're following are the new entry points that continue to emerge. And I think this space is really, really exciting. The reality is consumers have always wanted to engage with businesses. When it was brick and mortar, it started with coming into a specific location or maybe picking up the phone and talking. As businesses became, digitally augmented, like I mentioned earlier, you'd see entry points like this when customers were facing an issue. Maybe they call in and use an IVR system. Maybe there's a support ticket or web chat. or even in-app chat, right? These are a lot of the experiences traditionally we become used to in this digitally augmented environment. And these are great entry points, but they're mostly intended to resolve issues. What we're seeing today is the experience is moving from a support center to long-term digital relationships. And this is where we're seeing really exciting entry points emerge. Like in an ads experience, if I'm scrolling through Instagram, in one click, I can begin messaging with a brand via WhatsApp. Or I can be searching Google. I can find the business I'm looking for and click right into a chat messaging experience. Or I can even be looking at Facebook stories, see something that catches my eye, and decide to ask a few questions. In each of these, you can see that the business is giving consumers control while showing them that they're ready to provide service whenever the consumer needs something. And if we think about it in terms of use case, these entry points are offered to consumers before they hit the I need help with an issue stage. That's really what we're seeing. And when consumers do engage, we're seeing rich interactive experiences helping businesses capitalize on these conversations. Features like quick replies. In fact, we've seen 50% increase in engagement for use cases like surveys. There's product catalogs, giving consumers the ability to scroll and message for additional context, and group messaging for multi-party sales or services scenarios. These types of experiences, though, the three I'm showing here, they're just scratching the surface. When we talk about digital augmentation to digital first, it's about setting up the right entry points and capitalizing on the experiences consumers have come to expect. Consumers are telling you they want to move from reaching out only when they have issues through those traditional channels or entry points to building long-term digital relationships with the businesses they trust over the channels and touch points they prefer. Over the next decade, we see that the businesses who will truly differentiate are the ones who provide the best entry points to begin a conversation with a customer and then capitalize on those experiences with the right strategy and workflows. And that is critical. So how do you capitalize on this opportunity? Well, let's take a look at it from the customer journey perspective. Messaging continues to play a key role across the entire customer journey, whether it be conversational or mobile commerce, alerts and notifications, verifications, promotions, or customer care. Something like conversational commerce, it's about digital first product discovery and conversion. Think about some of those entry points I just mentioned. With alerts and notifications, it's personalized alerts with relevant, critical information. Customers also need secure and seamless ways to log in, reset passwords, and more. Ultimately, this leads to decreased fraud and a better customer experience. Remember, trust is critical. And once you have loyal customers, promotions showcasing relevant offers drive engagement. They can push your users to an app-based experience if you have one, or even allow them to have an experience right within that native messaging channel. And finally, customer care, offering seamless self-service and customer care interactions. Now, with most of these touch points in a customer journey as it relates to messaging, you can see that there's a conversational element, and that's really important. When we look at having conversations with customers, not every type of customer care is for customer support, though that is common. Replacing or augmenting existing channels like email, chat, or voice with a channel like WhatsApp messaging that can be deep linked directly from an email or website can really create a delightful experience. To field many of those messages, businesses may turn to bots that rely on simple logic-based routing or intelligent AI-based solutions. And lastly, businesses have turned to messaging in sales interactions to nurture and convert sales prospects in a conversational and secure way. So however you're looking to delight your customers, conversational use cases are a key element. But how does this actually work? Well, let's look at a common workflow for this. And what we're going to do is we're going to focus on the WhatsApp Business API and how we approach it with our customers at Twilio. The WhatsApp Business API is a powerful channel for all types of conversational experiences. It's something that I love to see our customers using at Twilio. But as you think about your use case and your application, there are a few considerations. We start with entry points. WhatsApp can be a natural call deflection tool, allowing you to nudge phone calls towards a messaging channel via IVR or using deep links in emails, apps, or your website. And as we've seen, there's a lot of new entry points emerging. WhatsApp offers template messages to initiate conversations outside of a 24-hour session, or customers can initiate a conversation on their own with an inbound message. Using keyword-based routing or intelligent assistance, you can really triage inbound messages and allow for efficient self-service where appropriate. And especially with Twilio, it integrates with existing systems. You gotta love APIs. It integrates with existing systems of record or ticketing platforms to better serve customers. How do you get started? Well, really every business is different. But as you think about getting started, there are 3 levels of complexity that I want you all to think about. And I'll share more about each of these in the coming slides: conversational, automated, and intelligent. We like to think of it as crawl, walk, run type strategies. Let's start with conversational. We'll start with a conversational multi-channel support with permissions and archives. This allows employees to communicate over a web or app-based chat application and consumers to use a channel like WhatsApp on their smartphones. So for the sake of these examples, we'll focus a lot on WhatsApp. With the right partner, it's really seamless. What should it be? It should be multi-channel. There's chat SDKs allowing businesses to centralize conversations for agent employees. It should be secure. Role permissions mean you decide who joins the conversation and when, and should be archivable. Retain conversation history and attachments for compliance and customer experience improvements. Next are automated conversations with basic auto response and chatbot functionality. This allows simple keyword and task-based routing to provide basic self-service or triage before passing customers to agents or employees. It should be always on. Configure automatic responses to incoming customer queries. It should be logic-driven. Build simple chatbots using keyword logic to answer simple questions or route messages. And it should be routable. Connect customers with the right point of contact for regional, specialty, or language support. That's really important. But the most advanced customers are building intelligent conversations with intelligent assistance and skill-based routing. It's bot ready, training intelligent assistants to field common inquiries to improve agent or whoever the point of contact is, sales rep efficiency. It's transferable, enabling seamless handoffs between intelligent assistants and humans. And again, it's routable, connecting customers with the right point of contact for that regional, specialty, or language support. Today, we covered a lot. For more trends and best practices around a channel like WhatsApp, as you saw with some of these flows, use this QR code. You can learn more about why businesses should consider WhatsApp for customer engagement, how to prioritize your channel strategy. We talked about that a lot, right? The multi-channel strategy. How do you prioritize? You learn about best practices for expanding your customer engagement strategy and what to know before you get started. So definitely encourage you to check this out. I'll end with this. We found the divide between business and consumer has really never been greater. Consumers have high expectations. When they get frustrated, brand loyalty is lost. But when they're delighted, brand loyalty grows stronger, leading to higher ROI of each interaction. And the exciting part, it's easier than ever to bridge that divide with technology. That's the opportunity. Differentiate in customer engagement with technology. With that, I can't wait to see what you build. Thank you.